Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the AWS Summit in Canberra. Canberra's turned on a brilliant day today. What's going on? It's warm outside. What I'm going to talk to you about today is where Veritas sits in its partnership with AWS and how we can actually provide not only protection of the data in the cloud, but also make it highly available. One of the things that Veritas prides itself on is having a very good pedigree within our customer base. So 10 out of the 10 telcos and financial services institutions use us. 99% of the Fortune 100 users. What we've actually done is start to listen a lot more to what our customers are telling us and what they actually need in the availability, protection, and insights area within their own on-premise solutions, and also anything that they do in the cloud as well. Our history is pretty impressive. We've been around since the mid-90s. I've been using the products since about 1998 in different iterations for different companies that I've worked for. But we've gone from having data protection and availability in Unix systems, right through now to being able to do disaster recovery and orchestration across cloud environments if customers need to do that. And what our customers are telling us is a lot of different things. Their growth, I think growth is a given. Data growth is actually pretty incredible at the moment. Organizations are not willing to actually delete any data. They want to make sure that what they've got is being fully protected. They want to make sure that they know that if they need to go and get a piece of data that might be 3 or 4 or 5 years old, that they can actually go and get it. Part of the next issue that they've talked to us about is fragmentation. The data is spread across on-premise data centers and DR sites, but it's also now, a lot of that data is actually up in the cloud. And they've got no visibility around that. And they want to be agile. They want to be able to make sure that when they need to make an application available, that they can be flexible about where they put that application. If they do the development on premises today, but want to deploy it into the cloud, they want to know that they can do that easily without much re-engineering. Governance is another big issue. Organizations need to know that if from time to time they need to deal with legal cases or something like that, that they can actually easily interrogate the data that they've got and make sure that they can report on that data and give that information back to whoever may need it. And then as the biggest one is visibility. Not only do they want visibility of the data, but they want visibility of the infrastructure that that data resides on. So, over those 5 topics, what we've actually now believe organizations want is availability of the data anywhere, protection anywhere, and insight into the infrastructure and also the data that we've made available and we've protected. So it comes down to API, availability, protection, and inspect, or insights. Each of these topics I will go into as we go through, but these are the main topics that our customers are identifying with us. And availability, while the cloud providers do give us highly available hardware and infrastructure to run our applications on, one of the things that they may not do that well is actually making those databases and applications highly available and to be able to fail over from an on-premise to a cloud or from cloud to cloud. Protection, that's a given. You have to back your data up. You have to make sure that it's going to be available when you need to restore it. And that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on doing really, really well. And the insights into where that data sits. No matter if it's in the cloud whether it's on premises or across different cloud vendors. This is very, very important to our customers. And this is where the Enterprise Data Services platform comes in. We can read off over 500 targets. We have availability to read off 150 different storage targets and the different clouds as well. We work with all the major cloud providers to be able to make sure that we can make the applications, the backups of the data, and the insight into the data available across all those different cloud platforms. So, some of their management needs look something like this. You have your primary data center, your secondary data center, and your cloud. And this could be multiple different clouds, could be different AWS regions. And the way that we actually do this is with a couple of different products. So if we wanted to look at availability and migration, it would be InfoScale. If we wanted to look at resiliency and DR across different clouds, it would be our Resiliency platform. And of course, our backup, NetBackup and Backup Exec, very, very solid products. A lot of development going into them to improve the way we look at cloud environments. And then if we want to actually move some of our deduplicated backup data to the cloud, a cloud catalyst could be put in place. And then we can have a look at the inspection of that data is with Aptar. And I will actually demonstrate Aptar to you right at the end of our presentation. So, availability. As I said earlier, we understand what availability is at the hardware layer, and our cloud providers, friends, do it extremely well. There's no question about that. But when we actually start to talk about application and database availability in the cloud, this is an area, as I said earlier, that sometimes they're a little bit lacking. So this is where we can actually help them. We can do it inter-cloud, intra-cloud. We can, So we can do it inter-cloud, intra-cloud. We can do it from one cloud provider to another cloud provider. We help you make that data highly available at the application and the database layer. And it's using InfoScale. It's an out-of-the-box piece of software that you customize to your environment. It makes sure that if for whatever reason your availability zones may fail over, say within the cloud, or you want to fail over from on-premises into the cloud, it will make sure that those databases and applications come up in a readable format that you can continue operations with. A case study that we've done recently in Asia, SWIRE Group. Everyone familiar with what SWIRE do? One of their major functions, they have lots of different arms, lots of different businesses, but one of the main ones was they do all the bottling for Coca-Cola throughout Asia. And I think they even do it here in Australia. They needed to make sure that their their 4 databases of SAP, HANA, and the applications, if they wanted to, could fail over between cloud zones. They chose AWS as their primary cloud provider, and they went ahead and actually had a look at how they could actually make it more resilient in the cloud. And the way they did that was each one of the applications and database instances, they wanted to make sure that if anything happened to them, for instance, if one of these databases went away, that from the availability zone 1, it would fail over to availability zone 2 and keep running. So it would allow for very, very low downtime. If when the other database instance comes back up, it would know how to resync the databases, and then it would actually bring that database back up in availability zone 1. Now, that's something that the cloud providers can do at the hardware layer very, very well. But at that application and database layer, they actually come to us to actually help them design these types of solutions where it needs to be highly available. So if availability zone 1 went away, it would fail over to availability zone 2, and then we would actually look at failing it back if we needed to. So the RTO for this was reduced down to 5 minutes, and the RPO was less than 30 seconds. So from a user's point of view, they would probably never notice that the database had swapped availability zones. Something that's very, very important when you're looking at an application that needs to be on 24/7. And the automated recovery is also very important as well. It does not need any user intervention to do this. It is done automatically at the database and application layer. So the next project that they're actually looking at is, currently this is sitting in AWS. The next project for them is to actually look at how we can orchestrate this to fail over to a different cloud provider as an extra DR layer. Database application and workload portability is also very important to a lot of our customers. To be able to support running an application in one cloud, but maybe down the track look at migrating that data from one cloud provider to another. We can orchestrate all that for you at the application and the database layer. And we can do it while the application is actually up and running. That is our resiliency platform. Supports virtual and cloud. It will support on-premise to cloud, cloud to cloud, or cloud to on-premise. It's very, very flexible in the way that you can design the resiliency that you need. One of the examples is we support all the different major cloud providers. We support many different storage providers, and also all of the applications and operating systems that you see on the side there. If you need to be able to fail over, as I said, from one zone to another, it can do it. Or if you need to migrate data from one zone to another, again, it will be able to do that. It also will allow you to migrate, as I said earlier, about maybe doing application development on premises and then put it into the cloud. It'll actually help you do that as well. Data protection. This is probably Veritas's pedigree. NetBackup and Backup Exec have been around for decades. They have gone through many different iterations over the years. And the demands are skyrocketing around data protection. Ransomware is a big problem. They need access to it 24/7, and they need to know that if they need to get at that data, they can get at that data anywhere. Compliance also comes into this. All organizations nowadays have some sort of compliance guidelines and rules that they need to be able to follow, and NetBackup collects all that information, protects it. It provides a catalog that you can actually start to use in different areas. And I'll talk a little bit about that when I get to the Aptar demo. So Backup Exec, 150 different storage targets, 500 data sources. Reduction in TCO is always very important. And you can consume this in any way, shape or form. It can be in a software form. It can be in an appliance form. It can be in a virtual form. And we can deploy it into the cloud as well. It's very, very flexible. With version 8.2, which was released a few weeks ago, it actually runs a lot faster in an AWS cloud. We have done extensive testing, and we find that it goes up to 2 times faster in an AWS environment compared to some of the other cloud providers. So, insights. This is where things get a little bit different. Organizations do not realize that backups have a lot of very, very valuable information in them. Being able to look into that data is very, very important. Knowing the value of your data is extremely important, and being able to look in a deeper way at your backups and also look at how we can help with decreasing some of the storage costs that you may have today. Some of the challenges that we face in an environment where we are spread out from on-premises, DR sites and cloud is looking at some of these topics. Are we fully protected? Is all of our data being backed up? Is it being stored in the most efficient way? Do I want to look at chargeback? Chargeback is starting to become a bit more topical, but one of the areas that Aptar can be used is to actually help monitor your cloud usage and your cloud environment and look at how they can actually improve that. And as I said, cloud optimization is very important. So what I'm going to do now is actually look at an Aptar, quick view of what Aptar can actually do. And so I'm logged in here to an environment in the US. And if technology is going to work, which it is, so Aptar comes out of the box. It has a data collector which sits inside your data center or inside your cloud. It collects from thousands of different data sources, and it allows you to view not only all your backup data, but all your infrastructure as well. So I'm logged in here. I'm first thing in the morning and I want to look at, the different backup jobs that have occurred. I want to look at how successful they've been, what error codes we had, and what job statuses have worked and which ones have failed. So 1,044 jobs were successful. Oh boy, you can't really see that, but this is what I need as an IT manager to come in the morning and have a look at my environment. I can look at my infrastructure. I can look at my SAN capacity, my object storage capacity. I can even look at my NAS capacity and get a really good view of where my storage platform is sitting. I can also scroll down and have a look at virtual machines consumptions over time. I can even look at my cloud network usage. So I can actually look at what information is going up into the cloud and get a bit of a monitor on that. I can also look in detail at my data protection strategies. One of the things that we do very well with Aptar is we not only look at our own backup data, but we also look at our competitors' backup data as well, as you can see down the side here. So we're agnostic from that point of view. We don't care what the backup data source is. Most organizations out there today have more than one backup product. We accept that. So we allow you to monitor all those different environments. One of the other areas we look at is chargeback. So who has received a bill from their cloud provider and got a bit of a shock? It can happen. It does happen. What we can actually look at here is we can see here we're monitoring all these different Amazon platforms that we use in the cloud. The organization has actually got data on each one of those platforms, and it is allowing me to look at, say if I wanted to look at the 5th of April, I can see across all of the different platforms like Glacier, like Dynamo, like CloudWatch, what my consumption has actually been in that cloud. So, very, very flexible product. It can monitor environments on-premise, in the cloud, and give you a really good utilization. I can drill down, I can drill down further here and start to get a really good picture of what my cloud consumption is and roughly what my cloud bill is going to be for the quarter or for the period of time. And we do this by monitoring all these different environments down the side, all the different storage arrays. And you can see we monitor pretty much any storage array out there. So that's just giving you a brief view of Aptar. After the presentation, please join us at our booth and I can go into more detail if you want to drill down into it. More than happy to do that. But lastly, what I'll go through is so, from an enterprise data platform, we can help you in all these different areas. We can look at the data protection side. We can look at reporting and analytics. We can even talk to you about resiliency in the cloud and also cloud portability between the different providers if you need to. Okay, any questions?
You mentioned about the data collector. So if we may have 3-4 clusters which are in our say primary site, and we may have a DR site, we have got a hybrid cloud, in AWS, and we got workloads everywhere. So do I need a data collector per VM cluster, per AWS account, or how does it work?
The data collector would sit inside your environment that you want to collect from. It's a virtual machine, so doesn't take up too many resources, and it actually goes out. There's no agents that need to be deployed, but it actually goes out and just pings the native APIs that all of the server, storage and switch providers give you. It then talks to a centralized database. If you're going across data centers, if you provide the log on to those data centers and the cloud providers, it can be done with a single one, but we would recommend a data collector in each point that you want to collect. Any more questions? Okay, great. Thank you very much for your time. If you want to delve into any of the products we have a little bit deeper, please visit us at our booth. And thank you for your time.